Hey guys, what if Mega Charizard sail inside of Naruto instead of Kurama? If you like this type of content, so don't forget to like and subscribe our channel and let's get started.
A red-cloaked hand clutched around the fat man's neck and hoisted him into the air.
Gatu tried to bargain for his life, but the claw around his neck was cutting off all air to his lungs.
Bringing the sniveling weasel to his face, Naruto forced chakra into his brain. Onaten. Akumu's demon style. Nightmare Gatu screamed as horrors assaulted his imagination before his heart burst from the terror. Dropping the corpse in disgust, Naruto roared into the sky as his rage dissipated along with the cloak of Kyuubi chakra. Falling to his knees, Naruto passed out as red chakra began to heal his various wounds.
Oh, Naruto opened his eyes to find himself in a vast forest. Dang it, when you get mad, you don't mess around, do you? Naruto turned around to see the Kyuubi lying down behind him, a bronze collar replacing the jail cell bars the same way Naruto's sewer mindscape was replaced with a forest. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Yeah, I kinda lost it when the Teme referred to Sakura as a prize to be given away. He looked around. So, what's the damage this time?
The Kyuubi rose to his feet while shrinking down to the size of a regular fox. Well, there's several cuts and bruises covering your body, along with a few cracked bones and torn ligaments. In addition, that last thug you killed nearly cut out your eye. The Kyuubi held up a hand-like paw as Naruto worriedly covered his left eye. Don't worry, I'm already fixing it as we speak. However, before I continue, I want you to know that I can improve it for you.
Naruto put his hand down and raised an eyebrow. How would you do that? Well, you know the Aura Sense technique you can do. Naruto nodded. I can turn that into a Kekkei Genkai. That way, you'd be able to use it on the fly and without having to go through a bunch of hand seals. I'd have done it already, but the seal won't let me do anything short of healing you without your permission. Naruto nodded. Go ahead. You've got permission, believe it.
The Kyuubi sighed. I really thought we'd taken care of that. Oh well, alright, time for you to leave. I think there's a few people who want to speak with you. I'll let you know when your eye is fixed. Naruto faded from the mindscape as he woke up. Oh, when he woke up, everyone was notably worried for him. Naruto quickly reassured everyone that he was going to be okay before pulling Kakashi to the side and telling him about his conversation with the fox. While worried that the fox was trying to influence his student, Kakashi agreed to keep Naruto's fledgling new bloodline a secret until he could tell others himself.
With Gatu and his bandits gone, construction on the bridge went by quickly. It wasn't long before construction was all completed.
Do you guys really have to go so soon? Naruto nodded to Inari, his left eye covered in bandages. Yeah, I'm afraid so. I mean, we'd love to stay, but we need to return home. Seeing Inari's downcast look, Naruto gave a foxy grin. Don't worry, I'm sure we'll be back someday. Gives everyone something to look forward to. As Inari's face lit up, everyone said their goodbyes. Waving farewell, Team 7 crossed the bridge for Fire Country and home. Had they stayed a bit longer, they would have heard Tazuna and the grateful townsfolk name the bridge, the Great Naruto Bridge.
Before long, Team 7 was confronted by Zabuza. Kakashi eyed him warily. Hello Zabuza, how can I help you? Zabuza sighed as Haku and the Demon Brothers joined him. I was hoping me and my family could seek asylum in Konoha. Kakashi blinked, along with the rest of Team 7. They had not been expecting that. I'm sure the Lord Hokage would be delighted to have ninja of your skill join the village, but if I may ask, for what reason do you want to join?
I'm tired of running. Zabuza leaned against a tree. I'm tired of having to constantly watch my back day in and day out. I'd like to be able to relax without having to worry about Haku, and after what happened with Gatu, I don't think we can afford to be on the run for much longer. Kakashi nodded. He could understand that. Alright, follow us then. I don't think I have to tell you. No funny business, do I?
Nope. Before long, the 8 ninja were leaping through the trees heading for Konoha, and hopefully, home.
Guardsman Sparky here. First off, I want to thank everyone who has favorite, followed, and read Aura Shinobi. I hope you are enjoying the story so far. I have also started a Naruto Mega Man ZX crossover called Naruto ZX. I hope you check it out and let me know what you think. And now, time to answer questions. Myra the Dovakian. There shall be no pairings, not until I get past the time skip. Seriously, I am just as oblivious to girls as Naruto is. I doubt he'd understand if a girl likes him if it was staring him in the face. It did take Hinata telling him outright that she loved him before Naruto realized that he also liked Hinata.
Ultima owner. Well, considering he hasn't gone up against any village shinobi, only missing Nin, not until after the Chunin exams, at least. And now, for our feature presentation. Hiruzen Sarutobi put down the report and eyed the 8 ninja standing before him.
Alright, while I don't like that you went on ahead with the mission without calling for backup Kakashi, I am glad we now have a new trade partner in Wave Country. The third turned to Sasuke and Sakura. Now, I know Naruto and Kakashi explained about Cuddles on the way back, but I have to emphasize that Cuddles is an S-class secret punishable by death or a trip to Ibiki. Understood.
Sakura and Sasuke nodded nervously. Good. Now, will someone please explain to me why there's a group of missing nin from the mist in my office? Zabuza stepped forward and gave a short, respectful bow. If it pleases my lord, we wish to seek asylum in Konoha. The third cocked an eyebrow. I see. Would you be willing to join our ninja corps? Zabuza nodded. We would. Excellent. Now, Hiruzen pulled out his bingo book. I know from the bingo book that you are a Junin while the demon brothers are Chunin, but what about your daughter? Haku would be at about high Chunin, low Junin level, seeing as she has taken down several hunter nin from the mist.
Haku stepped forward when Hiruzen asked what her skills were. I am an accomplished shot with Senbon, and have extensive knowledge of the human anatomy as well as several herbs and poultices. I also have my bloodline that I am still working to master. She seemed to debate with herself for a moment. If at all possible, I'd prefer to be a medic, as I do not enjoy killing.
Sarutobi nodded sagely. I worry about anyone who does. I don't think that will be a problem. The third opened a drawer and pulled out 4 ninja hitai with leaf insignias on them before handing them to the 4 former missing nin.
Now, I am instating you 4 as special Chunin and special Junin for a probationary period of 3 months. At the end of the probationary period, you will be tested to see if you are deserving of promotion to regular status. A look went across Hiruzen's face, like he had just tasted something foul. He dismissed Team 7, accepting Naruto as he had had the most contact with Zabuza and his adoptive family in the past. Now, Haku, since you are the last known holder of your bloodline and the last known member of the extinct Hyaozutsu clan and as such are essentially clanless, the council might try and force the CRA Act onto you.
I'll do my best to stop this, but unfortunately, after the death of the last Hokage, the civilian council took a lot of power they had no business holding. As it is, unless they commit treason, I cannot strip the council of its power without the fire daimyo's permission, and I have been unable to give him a valid reason to do so.
Zabuza snarled. Like hell they'll turn my little girl into a baby factory.
Before Hiruzen could say anything, Naruto spoke up. Why not adopt Haku into the Uzumaki clan? Everyone turned to stare at Naruto. Hiruzen inclined his head forward. Explain. Naruto swallowed dryly before he elaborated. Well, since Haku doesn't have a clan, I figured that as the last of the Uzumaki clan in Konoha, I could adopt her into the clan. And seeing as the clan head has the final say in arranged marriages for clan members, the council wouldn't be able to touch her. Naruto's eyes glazed over for a moment before he turned to Zabuza. Of course, since I'm still underage and a genin, I figure I need someone to sit in on council meetings for me until I become of age and a chunin, a favorite uncle, perhaps? Everyone was staring at Naruto in shock, including one of the hidden Anbu bodyguards who had fallen out of his hiding spot in the rafters in surprise. Naruto, that's brilliant. How did you come up with that? Naruto turned to the Hokage. It was actually Cuddle's idea, old man. He paused. I don't think everyone will fit into my apartment though.
Everyone. Well, yeah, Naruto looked at the demon brothers. I figured you guys would want in too.
Maizu and Gozu looked at each other. It would be nice to have family again. They turned to Naruto and spoke together. We're in. The Hokage smiled. Well then, let's get the paperwork out of the way then.
He glared balefully at the piles of paper covering his desk. He swore it grew every time he looked away from it. As for accommodations, I'm afraid someone tried to burn down your apartment building, Naruto. Fortunately, the fire was put out before too much damage was done, but I'm afraid the building had to be condemned. So, I took the liberty of purchasing a newer, unoccupied apartment building under your name. I'm sure it'll have plenty of room for your revived clan."
Naruto grinned widely as what his Gigi told him sunk home. "You're a sly old geezer, ain't cha?" "Indeed. Now, can we get this paperwork out of the way before it multiplies like the rest?" Everyone present sweat dropped. Sure. Oh.
Naruto sat in his new apartment staring at the bank statement in his hands. So many zeros. I don't even know where to start with so much money. To think mom and dad, whoever he was, were so loaded. When Hiruzen Sarutobi gave Naruto the codes for the Uzumaki clan bank accounts, he had told Naruto about his mother, though refrained from telling him who his father was, stating that because of the many enemies his father had made, it wasn't safe for Naruto to know who his father was until he was 18 years old or became a chunin.
Hey brat. Naruto was broken from his musings by Zabuza's entrance. "If we're going to be a clan, we need an armory. Got anything in mind?" Not really. Why don't you take care of it? I mean, go crazy."
Zabuza would have arched an eyebrow if he had any. "You sure we have the money?" Naruto showed him the bank statement. "Holy shit, that's a lot of zeros."
"That's what I said. Well, anyways, where should we put the armory?" Naruto scratched his head. "I don't really know. But since you're the acting Uzumaki clan head, shouldn't you be making the decisions about that sort of thing?" "Huh. You make a good point, brat." Zabuza turned around. "Oh, by the way, Haku's decided to take over the second floor as a clinic. Said something about poisons and medicines too. And Gozu and Maizu were out shopping for supplies to make a dojo, amongst other things. I figure we should put that next to the clinic in case of emergencies. I suppose you showed them the invoice?" "Yeah." Gozu fainted from the shock. "Really? Oh, I am never going to let him live that down. Anyways, I'll see you later brat, I got shopping to do." Oh, Tenten Higurashi was manning the register of the family blacksmith and weapons shop.
Although she had graduated from the Ninja Academy a year before, she still enjoyed working at the shop whenever she could. She especially enjoyed taking care of the weapons. The girl, whose hair was done up in a pair of buns that made her look like a panda, was so into weapons that people had begun to call her Konoha's weapons mistress. Although she would deny it, she tended to get a little hot under the collar when thinking about wielding a weapon like one of the 7 swords of the mist. The ringing bell that accompanied the door opening pulled Tenten from her daydreaming. She looked up to find 2 unfamiliar cloaked men wearing hite atesh rebreathers walking in. She put on her best salesgirl smile. "Hi, welcome to Tetsuryu, what can I help you with?"
One of the men spoke. "2 things. Do you do custom hite atesh?" The other continued as they both put something on the countertop in front of Tenten. "And can you make a pair of these with one size fits all and preservation and repair seals?" Tenten took a look at the objects before her with a practiced eye. "Oh yeah, we can do both of those. Just leave your hite atesh here with what you want done and we'll get them back to you by the end of the week. As for this," she pointed at the objects on the counter. "When do you want these done?" "Preferably before the Chunin exams, and see if you can't use chakra metal." "Oh, sure, we can do that, but it's going to cost you." The 2 smiled behind their rebreathers. "Oh don't worry.
"We've got it covered." "Well alright then, we'll have the designs done by Tuesday, so you can pick up your hite atesh then as well." The 2 men nodded and left the shop. Tenten turned to the back. "Hey dad, heat up the forge, we got a special order."
Oh, 1 month later, at brat, wake up. Naruto groaned as he rolled over and covered his head with his pillow. "Right, you asked for it brat." Naruto yelped in surprise as he was flipped off his mattress and onto the floor. Pushing his mattress off of him, Naruto glared at Zabuza blearily. For? Brat, have you forgotten what today is?" Naruto's eyes widened, his sleepiness forgotten. "The Chunin exams." He got up to get dressed. "Bingo. Hey before you go, Maizu and Gozu have something for you. They're in the kitchen. Go see 'em before you leave." Naruto finished dressing. "Got it." Oh, Naruto flexed his new gloves as he checked out the Fuinjutsu storage seals etched into the metal plates on the backs. He couldn't wait to use their contents. Gozu and Maizu had really outdone themselves when they got it for him. Too bad he hadn't had them when he had to confront some genin from Suna the other day.
He stopped at the top of the stairs, Sasuke and Sakura right behind him. They were at the academy, for the first part of the Chunin exams being held on the third floor. Ahead of them, a large group of genin from various villages were crowded around a door marked 301, their way blocked by a pair of genin who looked suspiciously like the two Chunin who frequently guarded the gates of Konoha. Thing was, they had only gone up one flight of stairs.
Naruto went to go up the next flight of stairs, but Sasuke went to confront the two disguised Chunin guarding the door. Drop the genjutsu, you're not fooling anybody. Naruto facepalmed. Hard. It's gonna be a long day. Oh, Kakashi was waiting at the door to room 301 to greet his team. Ah, good, I'm glad you're all. What's wrong with Sasuke? Naruto looked over his shoulder at the twitching body he had been dragging by the feet while Sakura supported the shoulders. Bushy brows Mini-Me challenged Duckbutt to a spar. It got out of hand and I had to jump in and get IM with pressure points. Not quite as clean as the Hyuga clan's Juken, but not as painful and harder to use in battle.
Ah, well, if all three of you hadn't shown up, I'd have had to prevent you from entering. Kakashi noticed Rock Lee in all his green spandexed glory being dragged behind his teammate, Tenten Hisaragi, by 1 foot. Walking past Team 7, she nodded gratefully to Naruto, happy that her teammate was quiet, for a change. Kakashi turned to Naruto.
What about him? Naruto grimaced. Well, when I dropped Sasuke, Lee went to fight me, but then he intervened, and then they started hugging.
So I got them both. As far as I know, Bushy Brows is still twitching in the arena. Kakashi tried, but he couldn't help himself. He started to laugh. You be better G get inside B before they get, *SNRK** started. Kakashi left trying desperately to control his mirth at how his self-proclaimed eternal rival was blindsided by one of his students.
Shrugging, Naruto carried Sasuke inside with Sakura's help and propped him in a seat before pinching a pressure point on the neck. Jerking upright, Sasuke glared at Naruto, who held up a hand. Before you say anything, you missed the sunset. Sasuke paled a bit, and then glared at Naruto again, but not as intensely this time. I'm still going to get you for that. Naruto shrugged. Fair enough.
A blast of killing intent caught Naruto's attention. Turning, he saw the source, the genin team from Sunagaku, the village hidden in the sand. Riddled with barely suppressed bloodlust, most, if not all of the ki was coming from the redhead with the kanji for love tattooed in red above his left eye. Snarling as he released his own ki, Naruto remembered the first time they met.
Oh, 5 days ago, Naruto was chasing after Sakura, who was currently hunting down Konohamaru, the Hokage's grandson, and his friends after they made the mistake of talking about Sakura's forehead, ever a sore subject for the self-conscious Kunoichi. He watched as they ran around a corner. Hey, watch where you're going, brat, put me down.
Naruto turned the corner to find a boy in a black, baggy suit with cat ears on the hood and makeup with a large bandage bundle on his back holding Konohamaru off the ground by the front of his shirt, a sandy blonde with 4 pigtails and a large metal object on her back standing next to him.
Leaning against the wall, Naruto took in the Hiti Atesh with hourglass markings. Sanagakure. Must be here for the Chunin exams. Hey, makeup boy. The boy in black turned on Naruto with a snarl. It's war paint. Sure. Look, you want to put the kid down please? The boy shook Konohamaru a bit. Yeah, sure, right after I teach him a lesson. Naruto turned his attention to the girl. So, Tamari. That's Kankuro, my brother. I see. Anyways, you want to tell him to drop the Hokage's grandson or do the Anbu watching from all around have to do it for you? Visibly paling, Kankuro dropped Konohamaru like a hot coal. Sticking his tongue out at the Suna genin, Konohamaru gave Naruto a quick hug in thanks before running off with his friends. Before Naruto could say anything, someone appeared in a sand shunshin. The sand fell away to reveal a red head with deep bags beneath his dead, gray eyes, the kanji for love tattooed above the left eye in red. A large gourd the color of sand hung off his left shoulder across his back. Kankuro looked ready to pass out in terror upon seeing him. Gee Gaara, I was just. Kankuro. Even his voice was dead-sounding, absolutely no life in it whatsoever. Shut up or I'll kill you. He turned to Naruto as Kankuro shook in fright. I apologize for my brother. I am Gaara of the desert. What is your name? Naruto Uzumaki, head of the Uzumaki clan in Konoha and son of the Red Death herself. Gaara seemed to listen to something only he could hear before responding. Mother wants your blood. Ah, hell. Kyuubi. I think that kid's the Jinchuriki for Shukaku, the Ichibi no Tanuki, the one-tailed raccoon dog. He always was a bit bloodthirsty, even by our standards, but some idiot monk tried to seal his consciousness into him, and it drove him crazy. Didn't know gender confusion was part of it though. Thanks Cuddles. Cutting off the mental link with the Kyuubi before he could start yelling, Naruto turned his attention back to Gaara and his siblings as they turned to leave. Number 1. Know your place while you're here, or I as number 9 will have to put you there. Understood. A mad light gleamed in Gaara's eye. Mother really wants your blood now. Naruto watched in disgust as the representation of what he could have become walked away. Turning away, he walked past a shell-shocked Sakura to report the encounter to the Hokage. Oh. Naruto was broken from his reverie by an older genin with white hair who nervously prodded him on the shoulder. Hey, you're really drawing attention to yourself. Naruto realized he had been leaking Cuddles' chakra into his ki and drew it back. Looking around, Naruto's sweat dropped as he saw a few teams around and between himself and Gaara had passed out from the combined demon-laced killing intents. Sorry about that. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. The older boy adjusted his round-framed glasses before taking the offered hand. Kabuto Yakushi. So, you're the new head of the Uzumaki clan, huh? I heard you really ticked off the civilian council when you declared the ice user a part of your clan. Good job. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, I don't like them either, most of them are self-serving assholes. Anyways, this is my first time here. How about you? Kabuto chuckled in embarrassment. My 7th. Pathetic, I know, but it's let me collect a lot of information on the people entering these exams. Cool. Naruto nodded in appreciation. Anybody I should watch out for in particular? Well, I'd stay away from that sand team. Aside from them, the only real team of note is a group from the new Sound Village, but they're probably not as strong as some of the more established villages. Naruto noticed that 3 genin with musical 8th notes on their hiti-ates looked like they were ready to start something. Fortunately, the proctors took that opportunity to arrive in a cloud of smoke. Alright, everyone sit down and shut up. After everyone had sat down in assigned seats, the bearded man with the bandana hiti-8 who had spoken earlier cleared his throat. Alright, maggots. My name is Ibiki Morino, head of interrogation and torture here in Konoha, and I am the proctor of the first test. This shall be a written test. Several genin groaned, including Naruto. Shut up. You will have 45 minutes to answer the first 9 questions. There will be no cheating. If you get caught cheating 3 times, you and your entire team will be disqualified. After 45 minutes, you will be given the final question. You may begin now. Turning over his test, Naruto stared at the questions. What the hell? These questions are impossible for a genin to answer. Well, any genin not as smart as Sakura. I mean, it's almost like they want us to cheat. Naruto looked around stealthily. The girl next to him, Hinata Hyuga, a painfully shy kunoichi, blushed madly when he looked her way. Why, you can copy off of me, and Naruto. Naruto shook his head slightly, noticing that the genin on the other side of him appeared to be already done. Upon closer inspection, it appeared that the answers were written in ink, as opposed to the pencils the tested were given. A plant? Only one way to find out. Thanks, Hinata, but I got it covered. He turned to the genin opposite Hinata. Excuse me, there's something on your paper. What? The clueless plant looked down at his paper. Where? Naruto grabbed the back of the faux genin's head and bashed it into the desk, knocking him senseless. There. Smiling triumphantly, Naruto took the unconscious boy's test paper and replaced his name with his own as the proctor jumped to his feet. Uzumaki. What the hell do you think you're doing? Naruto smiled at him foxily. Cheating. I still have 2 strikes left too. Ibiki blinked, before smiling at the boy's guts. I'll allow it. But anyone else who tries will be automatically disqualified. A genin from AIM, the village hidden in the rain, jumped to his feet in an outburst. What? Why does he get to do it? Because he thought of it first, and because I said so. Does anyone else have any complaints? No? Good. At the end of the first 45 minutes, Ibiki had everyone put down their pencils. Now, before you take the last question, know this. If you fail the question, you'll be stuck a genin forever. What? That's impossible. There are people here who've taken the test before. Ibiki eyed the speaker evilly. Well, they never had the misfortune of having me as proctor before. So, give up and try again, or risk staying a genin forever. The choice is yours. Several teams quit before Naruto slammed a palm against the desktop when it looked like Hinata and Sakura were getting ready to quit. I don't care, I'm going to be a genin forever, it doesn't mean I can't get stronger. Besides, no rule says you have to be a certain rank to be Hokage, so give us the damn question. Ibiki searched the room. Nobody else is leaving. Well then, you all pass. There was an uproar as people began to demand what the last question was. Ibiki responded by taking off his bandana, revealing numerous and horrendous scars caused by torture sometime in his past. The last question was to see if you were willing to risk your life on a mission when you didn't have any information. It is a risk you will face as you serve your home village, a risk of capture, of torture, and for you kunoichi, much worse at the hands of your enemies. That is why if you weren't willing to risk everything on a gamble, you weren't ready to become Chunin. As Ibiki put his bandana Hiti 8 back on, a black ball burst through the window, unfurling into a banner that stretched across the blackboard. Presenting the single and every sexy proctor of the second exam, Anko Mitarashi. Naruto dropped his head onto the desk with a loud thud as a purple-haired woman in a tan trench coat and not much else appeared in a cloud of smoke. Oh great. It just had to be her. The entire classroom stared at the scantily clad woman as the smoke cleared. Ibiki put a hand to his face in exasperation as he shook his head. Anko, you're early. Again. Pulling his hand down his face, Ibiki took another look at Anko's kunai pinned banner. And your sign has a typo on it. Anko took a look at her sign and let loose a stream of blistering invective that made most of the genin and quite a few of the Chunin proctors in the room blush. Sighing in exasperation, she pulled out a stick of dango and started munching on it. Oh well. Alright maggots. I am Anko Mitarashi, the proctor for the second exam. I am going to cut this group in half. Be at training ground 44 in 10 minutes. She gave the room a sadistic smile that promised pain. Don't be late. Laughing psychotically, she jumped out another window. Ibiki pinched the bridge of his nose as he took in the broken glass in the 2 empty window frames. We go through more windows that way. He turned his attention to the slack-jawed and partially petrified genin filling the room. Well? What are you idiots waiting for? Get going. The room was empty before he could blink. 10 minutes later saw the remaining genin standing in clumped groups outside a tall, barbed wire-topped chain-link fence. Many of the genin would glance nervously at the dark jungle-like forest beyond the fence as the various sounds and screams of hunting and dying animals came from within. Sasuke and Sakura, however, were more focused on their somewhat jumpy teammate. Sakura's eye twitched as Naruto jumped and started at random sounds as his head whipped around to try and find the purple-haired proctor. Naruto, what in Kami's name are you doing? Naruto flicked his eyes back and forth. The proctor, has it out for me. I kinda ruined a plate of dango during a prank once. Sasuke snorted. Is that all? Naruto glared at the Uchiha. Apparently, she feels the same way about dango that I do about ramen. Sakura and Sasuke blinked. Having seen how much ramen Naruto could eat in a single sitting in the funeral held for a bowl of spilled ramen, the pair silently promised to themselves to stay away from the woman's dango. They jumped in surprise and not a small amount of terror as an arm snaked around Naruto's shoulders, a kunai held loosely to his jugular. You're damned straight. Naruto gave a strangled shriek before using Kawarimi to hide behind his teammates. Laughing madly, her pupilless brown eyes twinkling in amusement, Anko went off to explain and begin the second exam. Naruto was so busy trying to get his heart restarted that he missed the altercation between the bloodthirsty kunoichi, a kunai, Kiba Inuzuka, and a strange kunoichi genin from Kusagakure with a very long tongue. In the remote training ground 67, a massive cave system once used during the Third Shinobi World War to train Konoha nin to fight and navigate in the underground caves and bunkers favored by Iwagakure, a swirling pinkish-purplish vortex opened in the air. 4 figures emerged and the portal closed. Lucario moved to the entrance to the cave complex and took a deep breath of air. He looked to his left as Mewtwo floated up next to him. They stood there together for a moment, taking in the village below the training ground before Mewtwo chuckled. Lucario lifted an eyebrow. Mewtwo got his chortling under control before explaining. The irony of the situation just occurred to me. Usually, it's a human that comes to the Pokemon world, not the other way around. Lucario shook his head in amusement. True. Although, there's usually a rise in mystery dungeons, are there not? Very true. Lucario turned to face Mewtwo fully. Thank you for bringing us back to Konoha. I know it's not easy for you. Mewtwo flapped a three-fingered paw at the jackal Pokemon. Meh. It was no problem. I needed to get away from Mew for a bit. He may be my older brother, but he acts like a child so very often. At any rate, I felt like looking in on our favorite human. He reminds me very much of another human I once knew. The fighting, steel type jerked his head over to stare intently at a large forested area with a tower in the center nearby as the two figures behind them stirred. Ugh. I do not care for doing that, at all. A small yellow mouse-like Pokemon with red spots on his cheeks and a lightning bolt tail sat up and rubbed his head between his two long, black-tipped ears. He turned to the Pokemon lying next to him. You alright, Riolu? Bleeg. Riolu, a small black and blue furred dog-like Pokemon groaned from where she lay. I feel horrible, Pikachu. She lifted up her head and glared at Lucario. Dad, did we have to go through the distortion world? Dad? Lucario narrowed his eyes as he scanned the forest, the aura-sensing appendages on the back of his head raised and glowing slightly. Something foul is in that forest. Before Mewtwo could respond, he felt a familiar and corrosive presence emitting from the forest. Lucario. I feel it too. Riolu, Pikachu, we need to move. Pikachu and Riolu jumped to attention as they heard the no-nonsense tone in Lucario's voice. Yes sir. Lucario and Mewtwo raced out of the cave, Pikachu and Riolu following close behind. Oh. Naruto swore silently as the bits of snake rained down around him. The second test was a survival test where one had either a Heaven Scroll or an Earth Scroll, and had to obtain the other from another team of genin. After an encounter with a team from a Megacure, the Hidden Rain Village, a massive blast of wind had separated Naruto from the rest of Team 7. Before Naruto could regain his bearings, a massive snake attacked from his blind spot. His left eye was covered by a black eye patch until the Kyuubi finished fixing his eye, swallowing him whole. Panicking slightly, Naruto had spammed shadow clones to the point that the snake burst from the pressure. As he tried to get the snake bits off of him, the chunks of snake corpse vanished in puffs of smoke. Wait. That was a summons. The only person to use snake summons is Anko, but I don't think she'd interfere with the exams, even for Dango. So who? Oh no. A horrified realization came over Naruto as he recalled a class on traders to Konoha. Channeling chakra to his legs, Naruto raced as fast as he could through the trees, scattering a team from Kiri like bowling pins as he did so. Please be okay. Naruto landed on a high tree branch, his eyes widening at the sheer amount of killing intent radiating off the strange Kusa Kunoichi that had an altercation with Anko and Kiba before the exam. Sakura was all but passed out against a tree while Sasuke stood panting, blood dribbling down a self-inflicted wound in his leg. Before Naruto could jump in, the Kusa genin was suddenly in front of the Uchiha, and Sasuke was sent crashing painfully into a tree trunk. Naruto could only watch in horror as the genin's neck stretched unnaturally out, her befanged mouth biting down on Sasuke's neck. Sasuke's scream of agony allowed Naruto to move against the oppressive killing intent. Get away from my teammate. Futen. Ikato, wind style, air cutter. A series of wind blades were thrown at the Kusa Nin, dicing her to little bits, only for the bits of Nin to turn to mud. A chill went down Naruto's back as a cold chuckle sounded behind him. Kukakukuku. My, such an impressive wind jutsu from someone your age. You even escaped my pet. Perhaps you'd make a good vessel as well. Naruto swallowed nervously. Oh, this is so not good. He spun around. Thanks, but I don't swing that way, snake. An impact that Naruto couldn't even see coming smashed into his stomach, rocketing him across the clearing. Cursing his blind spot on his left in the lack of depth perception, Naruto launched himself off his branch to avoid a barrage of snakes launched at him from the Kusa Nin's sleeves.
Kukakukuku. So, you've figured out who I am, eh? The Kusa Nin reached up and tore off her face, revealing a pale, almost white-skinned man with purple marks around his eyes. You're smarter than you seem. Kukakukuku. How would you like the power to show those smarts,
Naruto put his hands into the Tora seal as he focused his chakra, and not a little of the Kyubis as well. Yeah, it wasn't that hard to figure out, Orochimaru. You're the only one outside of Konoha who uses snake summons aside from Anko. As for your offer, you can stick it up your ass, it's not happening, pedophile. Kaden. Kan Hosha Ki, fire style. Flamethrower. A jet of poisonous, reddish-orange fire raged from Naruto's mouth, the wash of Biju-enhanced flames enveloping the traitorous snake sage. Naruto cut off the flow of chakra, letting the fire die down to reveal a baked clay statue of the snake-like man. Iwa Bunshin, Earth Clone. A fist dug into Naruto's back from behind and to his left, nearly shattering his ribs and throwing him from the branch he stood on. Naruto rolled over with a groan to see a heavily burnt and seething Orochimaru. Apparently, the pedophile comment had struck a little too close to home for the snake Sannin. Snarling at the boy, the traitorous Nin opened his jaw impossibly wide before disgorging a perfectly healthy and unharmed copy. Tossing aside the shed body, Orochimaru sneered at the blonde genin. That hurt, you brat. For the next few minutes, Naruto's world was dominated by pain as the snake Sannin thrashed the boy back and forth across the clearing. Eventually, Naruto found himself against a tree next to an unconscious Sasuke being stood over by the snake-like Sannin. Kukakukuku. I'm impressed, boy. I didn't think you'd be able to stay conscious. My offer still stands. Come with me, and you'll have more power than you could possibly imagine. Naruto forced himself to his feet, blood dribbling down the corner of his mouth. Not on your life. Oniten. Doku Sasu, demon style. Poison jab. Forcing the caustic Biju chakra of the Kyubi into his right fist, Naruto stabbed his hand at Orochimaru in a textbook knife fist, only for the Sannin to grab his arm by the wrist and strangle him with his unnaturally long tongue. Tisk, tisk, tisk. So unwise. It appears that you have some control over your Biju, Oh, that's right. I know all about your burden. Orochimaru caught another Biju chakra enhanced strike before slamming the boy against a tree to stun him. Kukakuku, such fight in you. Well, we'll just have to remedy that, won't we? Lifting up the hem of Naruto's shirt, Orochimaru cocked back his free hand, fingers in a clawed position. As he thrust the clawed hand at Naruto's bared stomach, a sickly purple aura enveloped the fingertips. Gokyo Fu. A blue pulse connected with Orochimaru, interrupting his sealing technique. As Naruto fell back down to the ground, he could hardly believe his eye. One moment, Orochimaru was about to hit him in the seal on his stomach, the next, the Sannin was 50 feet away and partially embedded in a tree trunk to his left. Turning his head to his right, Naruto's eye widened as he beheld a very relieving sight. Mewtwo-sensei. Lucario-sensei, you're back. The gray genetic Pokemon smiled at Naruto. Indeed I am. Lucario, you and the others take the boy and his team to safety. I will deal with the snake. Lucario nodded before putting Naruto on his back. Taking an unconscious Sasuke and Sakura under an arm and Naruto clinging to his back, Lucario dashed off through the trees, Riolu and Pikachu following closely behind. Mewtwo waited until they were out of sight before turning his attention back to Orochimaru, who had shed his skin, leaving him in pristine condition once more. Mewtwo gave a cruel smile. So, you're back at full health, are you? Excellent. You might provide me with a challenge after all. Orochimaru sneered at the creature before him. It was obviously a summons, but it was too small to pose any danger to him, the snake sage. It had managed to blindside him, that was true, but now that it had his full attention, it would not be long before it lay dead at his feet, or preferably on a laboratory necropsy table. However, Orochimaru's bloodthirsty smile soon melted away at the sight before him. Mewtwo was floating up in the air, a blue aura around him. Thrusting his arms to the sides, the same aura manifested around trees, rocks, and various heavy objects around the clearing. With a simple flick of the wrist, everything outlined with a blue glow was torn from the ground to orbit around the psychic Pokemon. His glowing blue eyes met Orochimaru's. You should run. Mewtwo thrust his arms forward, launching everything at the traitorous snake.
Oh, the three genin from Kiri were currently trying to figure out what or who had bowled them over earlier. The only problem was, they couldn't find any trace of it whatsoever. They were just about to give up and look for an opposing team to victimize when they were knocked out by three figures using their heads as stepping stones.
Oh. Lucario came to a stop at the base of a large tree, possibly the oldest one in the Forest of Death. He turned to Riolu and Pikachu. We will stop here for the night. Riolu, gather firewood. Pikachu, go search for food. I will stand guard. Nodding, Pikachu and Riolu went to complete their given tasks. Lucario checked his students' and his teammates' conditions. He paused as he saw the throbbing mark on Sasuke's neck. I sense a foul aura radiating from that mark. I fear for this boy's sanity if it isn't dealt with soon. Sitting in a lotus position, Lucario closed his eyes and began to watch for aura signatures, the appendages on the back of his head lifting up with a blue glow. Oh, Orochimaru was not having a good day. It had started out so well. He had infiltrated the Chunin exams, with no one the wiser, and had marked Sasuke Uchiha with his cursed seal with little to no problems. Then that damned Uzumaki brat had arrived and had shown off a powerful windjutsu, one that he didn't know. Then the brat had the audacity to roast him and call him a pedophile. To top it off, it turned out that the brat had respectable control of his Biju's chakra, a control that could possibly threaten his plans for Konoha. But before he could seal it, some sort of cat summons had appeared and started throwing entire trees and giant rocks at him with nothing but its mind, while a jackal-like summons took his prey away. Mewtwo, on the other hand, was silently and internally smirking. Behind the powerful psychic Pokemon was a trail of destruction, consisting of torn-up trees, plants, rocks and various stunned animals. Before him was a cursing Orochimaru, who had just dodged a particularly vicious white rabbit with red eyes. The Iwa Genin team that the Pokemon and Sannin had been passing at the time were not so lucky. Mewtwo gave an internal, silent cackle of glee as he recalled the look on Orochimaru's face when he had tossed a very large tiger at him. That girlish squeal of terror would bring him much entertainment and mirth for years to come. He had tried to pick up the Sannin and crush him in his psychic grip, but as soon as Mewtwo had picked up the snake traitor, Orochimaru had used a replacement technique to escape his psionic grip. So, he had reverted back to throwing things, a tactic that was proving to be most effective. So far, the pale serpent-like man had been forced to regurgitate himself 5 times. Mewtwo ceased his psionic barrage as a purple-haired woman in a trenchcoat and not much else confronted the Sannin. Intrigued at the expression of fury and betrayed trust, Mewtwo made a decision to stay back and watch. The subsequent battle was a short affair. The purplet, Anko, going by what Orochimaru said, attempted to use a mutual suicide jutsu on the white snake, only for it to fail as the shadow clone of the traitor, poofied away. Anko was then driven to the ground by a pulse of dark, corrupted energy that Mewtwo could sense leaking from something on her neck. As Orochimaru lifted the girl up by her throat, Mewtwo decided that it was now the time to intervene. Anko fought against the pain and lack of air as her traitorous former sensei lifted her up. I have a message for you to give, sensei, my dear little Anko. Don't cancel the Chunin exams, our Konoha won't like what happens. Before Orochimaru could do or say anything else though, his arm was enveloped by a blue glow. Anko watched in amazement as the limb holding her in the air suddenly bent in a way that it shouldn't with a sharp snap. Hissing in pain, Orochimaru dropped his former student before melting away into the trees. Staring in disdain after the disappeared Sannin, Mewtwo floated to the panting Anko. Are you alright? Anko looked up at the Pokemon, a hand to her throat as she caught her breath. Yeah, fine. What the hell are you? Mewtwo considered her question, eventually deciding to stretch the truth. I am a summons of the Pokemon clan. We are new to Konoha. Really? Then you won't mind telling me who your summoner is? Mewtwo gave a smile. I'm afraid that I can't divulge that information. However, your Hokage knows of us. Mewtwo looked down the path of destruction he had made while fighting Orochimaru before turning back to Anko. Tell the Hokage what has happened and tell him that the fox's first 2 senseis will ensure that no one else interferes with the second exam. He will know what it means. Before Anko could respond, Mewtwo teleported away. The snake mistress of Konoha got to her feet and looked down the clear and obvious path the Pokemon made as he chased down her former teacher. Giving a low whistle, Anko rubbed the back of her head. Man, wait till I tell Nai about this. Lucario sat cross-legged on a stone situated in a small hollow, a small but surprisingly roomy cavern beneath what was probably the largest and oldest tree in the Forest of Death, his human student and his teammates lying unconscious at the back of the cave. Naruto and his female teammate, Sakura, wasn't it? Were fine, only suffering from exhaustion and deep bruising. It was their raven-haired teammate. What was his name again? Ah yes, Uchiha, who worried him. Physically, The ducklet butt-haired boy was fine, barely suffering a bruise. That is, until the strange, Seviper-like man with the corrupted aura bit him on the neck. Now the self-proclaimed Avenger was shaking and sweating off a fever, with a 3-teardrop circle mark pulsating darkly where he'd been bit. Lucario could only watch and hope Mewtwo found them soon, as the corrupted glyph infected the boy's system with its foul aura. Lucario turned his attention to Naruto. The boy was lying slightly off to the side from his teammates, the shroud of corrosive red chakra surrounding him and healing his wounds necessitating the distance. It was fortunate that the pale man hadn't been able to disable Naruto's access to the Kyuubi. Lucario's musings were cut short as Mewtwo appeared next to him in a flash of light. Well? Naruto and Sakura are stable. The girl only has a mild case of shock and exhaustion, and the Kyuubi is taking care of Naruto. I am worried for the Uchiha. Whatever the snake did to him, I can tell it's affecting his mind. Lucario looked at Mewtwo in worry. The mark he left, I can feel a presence there. If it is not removed, I fear for the boy's sanity. Mewtwo rolled Sasuke over slightly to inspect the mark. A cursed seal. If I recall what I learned of sealing from that strange man at the hot springs correctly, oh my. What? It appears that Orochimaru, the snake man, wishes to acquire young Sasuke's body for his own use. The seal seems to prepare the body for possession. In addition, it absorbs the natural energy in the air, for the bearer to use, almost as a backup power source or energy boost. However, it feels incomplete, like there is a critical piece of the puzzle missing. Lucario flicked his eyes from Sasuke to Mewtwo. What do you suggest we do? This seal literally has a mind of its own. We need to remove that mind if Sasuke's mind is to remain his own. Where are Riolu and Pikachu? They are standing guard, outside. Mewtwo nodded. Good, I will need your help with this. Mewtwo reached out, placing a paw on the foreheads of Sasuke and Lucario. Mewtwo breathed deeply, his eyes closed. The air grew thick and cloying within the tree root cave, yet nary a flicker of power leaked out into the gathering night. Exhaling, 2 orbs glowing blue snapped open. Embrace eternity. Oh, Mewtwo and Lucario found themselves within a mindscape in turmoil. The mindscape, which resembled the old Uchiha district, before the massacre, was falling apart. Buildings were collapsing in slow motion, even as they dissolved into nothing, a dark miasma replacing several portions of the mindscape. Mewtwo gazed around the crumbling mindscape. Strange, this level of deterioration is much higher than it should be. Lucario knelt down and inspected the ground. It appears that something has been eating away at the boy's psyche for some time already. Take a look. Mewtwo took note of the jagged thorns that had worked their way in between the cobblestones that made up the ground. This is not good. We need to remove this blight before we can proceed to the curse mark. If we don't, we may not have the opportunity to do so again. Lucario nodded, and the 2 Pokémon began to follow the trail of corrupted vines and creepers to their source. Oh, Naruto regained consciousness slowly, his uncovered eye blinking blearily. Sitting up, the blonde groaned as sore muscles protested. Hey, Cuddles, what gives? Why am I so sore? A deep, rumbling voice answered from Naruto's mind. Kid, even when I'm healing you, even with your natural quick healing, there's only so much I can do when you go up against an S-class missing nin. We're lucky not to have been sealed off from each other. There was a pregnant pause. And stop calling me that, it's not my name. Well, when you won't tell me your name, what else am I supposed to call you? I am not addressing you by your title, Cuddles. Blocking out any reply, Naruto looked around the cave he was in. Seeing his 2 teachers sitting cross-legged next to Sasuke, Naruto started to call out to them until he noticed the blue glow beneath Mewtwo's closed eyelids and the 2 paws connecting the 3 together. Figuring it was something to do with mindwalking, and not something he wanted to interrupt, Naruto turned to check on his other teammate. Seeing that Sakura was fine, Naruto stiffly got up and went out of the cave. Upon leaving the cave, Naruto noticed 2 smaller Pokémon standing guard. Nodding to the yellow mouse, rabbit-looking one, Naruto sat next to the one that looked like a miniature Lucario. Hey. Hey, what's up? Not much, Lucario and Mewtwo are doing something to Sasu. Naruto looked at the small dog-like Pokémon sitting next to him. It hadn't been using telepathy of any kind. How did I understand you? The blue, black and tan-furred Pokémon looked at Naruto briefly, then shrugged. You must be Naruto, right? Mewtwo must have put the language in there or something, you'd have to ask him. I'm Riolu, by the way, but I like to be called Rin. The foot-high yellow mouse, rabbit spoke up next with a chirp. I'm Pikachu. But you can call me Rai. Nice to meet you. Naruto scratched the back of his head. It's nice to meet you guys, too. So, why are you here? Usually it's just Lucario-sensei or Mewtwo-sensei who come here. Before the Pokemon could respond, Ray's black-tipped ears shot up on the swivel. Hey, we've got company. I don't like the way they smell, reminds me too much of Sevipers. Ray's eyes widened. Duck. Naruto and the two Pokemon dodged as a near-invisible shockwave passed through the space the trio had been. Looking to the source of the attack, they saw three genin in urban camouflage, a musical eighth note carved proudly on their Hitiya Tesh. Oh, Lucario and Mewtwo followed the thorny creepers across Sasuke's mindscape until they came across what appeared to be a shrine being strangled by the jagged, black vines. Strange, blood-red flowers with a strange, three-curved blade shuriken design in the center of each dotted the vines on the building. Lucario reached out to touch one flower, drawing back with a hiss as several creepers shot out at him. Mewtwo examined the shrine closely. Someone has tampered with the boy's memories. I am somewhat surprised that none of the human mindwalkers have noticed this. Lucario looked pensive. Perhaps whoever did this took steps to ensure the mindwalkers wouldn't notice it. I concur. Mewtwo closed his eyes and began to call upon his psychic powers. However, before he could begin unraveling the false memories and planted suggestions, a chilling laugh was heard echoing through the mindscape. Kukakukuku. I don't know what you were, but I'm afraid I can't let you do that. A snake-like wraith materialized from the shadows. It may not be my handiwork, but it will make Sasuke come to me for power. Mewtwo ignored the shade, instead turning his attention to the tangled thorns on the shrine. Lucario, I believe it's your turn to deal with the nuisance. Lucario punched his paws together, a grim smile on his face as the imprint of Orochimaru's soul shifted into a horrid mockery of human and snake. Oh, Naruto. Rin and Rai glowered at the three sound genin who had attacked them. Naruto snarled at them. Who are you? The air behind the trio shimmered before shifting into stylized night sky. A spotlight illuminated a bandage-covered boy with one visible eye, a long-sleeved kimono top and a fur cape, a spiky-haired boy in a tan tunic and leather face guards on his cheeks, and a black-haired girl wearing a gray armored vest. The bandaged boy began to speak. Prepare for trouble. Make it double, hum. The girl smacked the tunic-wearing boy upside the head. Make it treble. Dumbass, to show the world such devastation. To unite all peoples within our nation, to denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the skies above. Dosu. Zaku. Kin. Team sound, blasting off with a sonic boom. Surrender now or meet your doom. Yeah, that's right. The three Sound Village ninja ended their spiel in various poses, eliciting sweat drops from Naruto and the two Pokemon. Naruto raised a hand in the awkward silence that followed. Are you ready to be serious now, because that was just stupid. Rin blinked. I've never seen such idiocy in my life. Rai tilted his head. Was that supposed to be intimidating? The girl, Kin, snarled at the trio. Hey, why hear that? They're mocking us. The bandaged boy, Dosu, glowered at the blonde and his companions. Let's show them why we're to be feared. Zaku, if you would. The remaining boy, Zaku, gave a malicious smirk as he held his arms straight out, revealing a hole in the palm of each hand. With pleasure, hum. Zankuha. Decapitating airwaves. Naruto, Rin and Rai were forced to dodge as a blast of air shot from Zaku's palms at them. Pumping chakra into his fingerless gloves, Naruto unsealed a pair of clawed gauntlets, the demon brother's gift to him. Snarling, he charged at Team Sound, Rin and Rai close on his heels. Oh. Mewtwo ignored the ongoing battle between Lucario and hybrid abomination of man and snake as he methodically worked to unravel the bindings and alterations to Sasuke's mind. While some of the bindings and seals were genius works of art, others were sloppy and haphazard in their execution, making Mewtwo question the mental stability of whoever it was who sealed and altered the memories before him. Lucario leapt over the abomination that was the shard of Orochimaru as it tried to eat him once again, cocking back a fist as he did so. Brick break. The attack smashed into the serpent's skull, sending it crashing down to the ground. Shaking its head, Orochimaru reared up, swinging its tail at Lucario, then following up with an open-mouthed lunge. Lucario jumped over the swung tail, gathering light energy as he did so. As the serpent's fanged maw drew close, the jackal Pokémon released the energy all at once. Flash Cannon. The ball of light cannoned into the abomination's scaly snout, knocking it back and dazzling it. Blinded by the attack, the white-scaled monster thrashed in pain as it tried to crush its opponent. Sensing an opportunity, Lucario used an altered move he had created after observing a ninja with gravity-defying silver hair. Shadow Team. Lucario's form began to blur until several afterimages split off from him. Becoming solid and real in their own right, the clones blitzed the thrashing snake as the original fell to one knee, trying to catch his breath. That took more out of me than I thought it would. Still needs work. Forcing himself to ignore his fatigue, Lucario thrust both paws into the air, gathering and shaping aura energy as he did so. Oh, Naruto faced off against Dosu, claws dripping with blood as he dodged another singing swing of the Sound Nin's Melody Arm Gauntlet. Dried blood trickled out his ear, a remnant of the burst eardrums received when he had struck the Melody Arm with his own gauntlet. Catching Dosu off guard, Naruto managed to kick the Sound Genin in the chin with enough force to send him flying. As Dosu soared through the air, Naruto began to run through hand seals. Rin had gone after Zaku, and was skillfully dodging several air blasts from the boy's perforated palms. Zaku, while able to catch the Riolu several times with his decapitating airwaves, was becoming very frustrated at their inability to harm the bipedal blue dog. Yes, the air blasts were hitting her dead on, but it was as if her body was made of steel or something. It was infuriating. Force Palm. Crossing his arms to block the attack, Zaku howled in pain as the glowing paw very nearly shattered both his forearms. Nearly paralyzed by the pain, Zaku stumbled towards Dosu, his fractured arms held close to his body as the other boy started to get back up. Rin smirked as she began to focus energy into the space between her paws. Rai was having a difficult time with his opponent. As soon as he had made for Kin, the raven-haired girl had thrown several handfuls of belled senbon needles towards the electric mouse. Initially puzzled by the inaccuracy of the attack, Rai nearly fell over as the sound-based genjutsu began. While normally the attack on the senses were disorienting, Rai found himself unable to stand straight, his sensitive hearing amplifying the effects of the illusions. Kin smirked to herself as the small mouse rabbit thing in front of her tried to blast her with bolts of lightning, only to hit air as she threw senbon after senbon at the little thing. Leering at the yellow-furred creature, she threw a senbon that pierced its tail. As the needle stabbed into his tail, Rai saw red. Screaming in rage, the Pikachu's red cheeks sparked with energy. Shockwave. Kin's eyes widened as a shockwave of electrical energy radiated out from the strange animal before her. Screaming as her nervous system was scrambled by the lightning, Kin was sent flying into her two teammates, knocking them down in a heap. Shaking his head clear, Ray's cheeks began to crackle with barely contained power as dark clouds gathered in the sky above. As Team Sound struggled to untangle themselves, Naruto finished running through hand seals, ending on the Tora seal as Rin and Rai finished preparing their own moves. This is the end. Daimonji. Fire Blast. From Naruto's mouth leapt forth a 5-point star of fire that resembled the kanji for fire. A ball of light came into being in Rin's paws. Focusing, she expelled it at speed towards Team Sound. Focus Blast. Rai released his gathered energy into the clouds above the tangled-up Sound Genin. Thunder. The skies opened up, a massive bolt of lightning streaking down from the black clouds. The three attacks collided with Team Sound simultaneously, creating an explosion that sent the three Genin soaring through the sky with a scream. Oh, Mewtwo smirked. His adversary may have been mad and a genius, but no mere human could match wits with the cloned Pokémon when it came to battles of the mind. All that was needed for the false memories and implanted suggestions to be eliminated was to remove that tangle there. As the last of Lucario's Shadow Team clones were demolished, Lucario finished gathering energy, a massive orb of aura held above his head. Leveling the sphere of roiling, twisting energies, Lucario released his control over the point on the sphere farthest from him. Although using this technique on the soul shard that was merely a fraction of both Lucario's and Orochimaru's power would be massive overkill, Lucario did not want to leave a single portion, intact or no, of the corrupted presence in Sasuke's mind. Aura Storm. Orochimaru's soul shard's eyes widened as a beam of light and energy wider than it was long overcame it. No, no. Ia. As the aura storm engulfed the pale serpent, its screaming petered out as it was burnt out of Sasuke's mind. As the final death rattle of the corrupted soul piece sounded throughout the mindscape, Mewtwo smirked, pulling at a particular clump of thorns. As the remaining vines shriveled and flaked away into nothing, the memory cluster masquerading as a shrine glowed with a white light. Oh! Shading his eyes with one hand, Naruto gave a low whistle as Team's sound disappeared in the distance with a soft ping. Looking down, Naruto noticed a small scroll at the edge of the crater where the airborne genin had taken off from. Picking it up, he found that it was the scroll Team 7 needed to pass the second exam. Turning to show it to Rin and Rai, Naruto's attention was caught by a yell from the side. Dynamic entry. Naruto turned just in time to catch a sandaled foot to his face, sending him rolling head over heels across the battle-torn clearing. Coming to a rest upside down against a tree, the only thing Naruto could make out over the ringing in his ears was someone apologizing profusely for hitting him. For whatever reason Naruto could not determine, everything tasted green.